My Lords, the Volume 3 of the Manchester Arena inquiry is really hard to take in, because it's shocking to hear the Director General of MI5 apologising for not preventing what seems to have been a preventable attack, even though, of course, the full blame for that atrocity lies with Salman Abedi. But in terms of learning lessons, one confusion maybe the Minister could clarify. Sir John says he doesn't blame any of the educational establishments the bomber attended, and yet still concludes that more needs to be done by education providers, and says Abedi should have been subject to prevent. And I just don't understand why. Doesn't that distract from the fact that a radical Islamist operated in plain sight of security forces post-education and wasn't stopped? And just following on from prevent and whether we can trust it, I was glad that the statement referenced William Shawcross's review of prevent, which admits that we underestimated the threat of Islamist terrorism for fear of, for example, being called Islamophobic. Maybe that's partly the political correctness point. And conflation of that kind of threat with being views labelled extremist. Can the Minister reflect on how unhelpful it is at the moment to label a wide range of citizens as Nazis or far right, everybody from anti-ULEZ protests to those worried about small boats, and that this might water down our official vigilance of security and the threat of radical Islam, rather than labelling everybody as extremists, very unhelpfully?
Well, I think the Noble Baroness raises a very good point, and I sometimes think that the speed with which polar opinions are voiced in this country at the moment is very unhelpful to sensible public debate. So I think she makes an extremely good point, and she makes it very well, particularly as regards the frequent application of the word Nazi, which is rarely appropriate in my opinion. As regards the education system, I take Sir John's opinions at face value. I have very little more to add, I'm afraid.
I want to pick up on the point that Lord